Greetings, I'm your host, Dr. Wolfula, and when I'm not being shot 6 times and, actually dying, I'm here at the Wolfula reviewing movies. Welcome to the last video of October. Yeah, there was supposed to be a couple in between, but, some shit happened. I'm sorry. Don't worry, in case of emergency, I have November to fall back on. Admittedly, for whatever reason, 2019's Halloween season hasn't been great, and I think less people are embracing Halloween these days in favor of hyping up Christmas earlier and earlier. It's hard to really get into the Halloween season when you see Halloween stuff tucked behind aisle after aisle of Christmas decorations. You have to go a lot more out of your way for Halloween these days, but I'll tell you this much, it's always worth it. If you love something, fight for it, and you gotta bring the season to life for all around you. And on that note, I'm reviewing a shitty Halloween movie by Rob Zombie. Not those shitty Halloween movies. His first one, House of 1000 Corpses. Okay, I know I ragged on Rob Zombie's movies in the past, but I got nothing against the guy himself. He seems like a nice dude, and even though his music isn't my thing, he's obviously a talented musician, along with being a great artist. I even liked a couple of Rob Zombie movies. Just some others, not so much. Honestly though, I was harsh to the Halloween movies, cause mostly I was concerned that they were the direction all Michael Myers flicks going forward would take, but they were just a one-off thing in the end, so I've cooled down on even those films. Before those Halloween movies came out though, I saw Devil's Rejects, and even though I haven't watched it in years, I remember liking it, so I thought, why not see the film that it was a sequel to, Rob Zombie's debut flick, House of 1000 Corpses. It turns out, maybe that wasn't the best idea. House of 1000 Corpses was born from Rob Zombie's late 90s collaborations with Universal Studios on Halloween Horror Nights houses, the film essentially tying into a horror house the same name that he was developing in 2000. House of 1000 Corpses went from pitch to production at Universal incredibly fast, with 2 horror icons in starring roles, Bill Moseley and the late Sid Haig. But the production was hectic. Rob Zombie isn't even clear on how much money went into the budget, estimates hovering from $4 to $14 million bucks. This was Rob Zombie's first movie, and beyond the vibe of the film, he didn't have a clear vision of what House of 1000 Corpses was when writing the script, which featured multiple subplots and character arcs that were eventually scrapped in the middle of shooting, but hints of these things are still in the movie anyway. There wasn't even enough money to originally shoot a proper ending for the film, so Rob Zombie had to convince Universal in the middle of shooting to let him spend more money developing a better ending. In the end, Universal feared House of 1000 Corpses would receive an NC-17 rating, death for any film, and shelved it indefinitely. Rob Zombie was forced to purchase the rights to his own movie, and it was going to be released by MGM until he pissed them off, and finally it made its way to Lionsgate in the days before Saw put them on the map. House of 1000 Corpses was finally released in 2003 to box office success, but how does it hold up today? Well, let's see in my RIFFVIEW. House of 1000 Corpses begins with a horror house show called Dr. Wolfenstein's Creature Feature Show.
It's time for Dr. Wolfenstein's Creature Feature Show.
Wolfenstein? Ridiculous. Now, Wolfula is a name you can set your watch to.
Your ghost host with the most, Dr. Wolfenstein.
Why does Dr. Wolfenstein have a soul patch? Oh, whatever. The real focus of this throwback is establishing the show's sponsor, Captain Spaulding. Part insane clown posse, part Colonel Sanders, part Walt Disney. Played, of course, by the late great Sid Haig.
Ha ha! It just tastes so damn good.
Spoilers, he's the best thing in this movie, so of course he isn't in it much. Classic Rob Zombie. The cold open leads to Captain Spaulding's roadside attraction being established properly, and I gotta hand it to Rob Zombie. His films do have some good production and art design. This really does look like an authentic, weird roadside attraction with a lot of cool details. Oh man, I just praised Rob Zombie. I feel so dirty. It's from here that Captain Spaulding is formally introduced, and we're also introduced to Rob Zombie's, questionable dialogue.
That retard that hangs out at Molly's fruit stand?
Yeah.
You know, for the life of me, I cannot understand why you hang out with that asshole.
He's one horny retard.
It's clear at this point that Zombie likens himself to a horror auteur a la Tarantino, slipping in casual, unlikely, and lengthy conversations. In the right hands, these dialogue scenes can be revealing, but Honestly, the dialogue scenes in Rob Zombie flicks just make me feel like I'm watching Redneck Seinfeld.
Takes a sharpened pencil and sticks it in his eyeball and twists it.
What?
Like, for real, when I hear Stucky here speak of the unseen Jackie Cobb's strange sexual proclivities, it's like listening to one of Kramer's Bob Sacamano stories.
You fixed the toilet yet?
Yes, I did, and I don't want you stuffing any goddamn paper towels down there. I had to snake the shit out that thing.
You can almost imagine this dialogue with a laugh track in Jerry's apartment. Anyway, the sex and shit chat is broken up by two masked men who are very good at robberies.
Little dick quick, play with his brick. Don't the smell just make you sick?
Stop singing! I hate that song!
Get your fucking mask back on!
Man, I feel bad for these guys. What the hell was that editing? Oh man, another actor no longer with us, Erwin Keyes. Rest in peace. So, this robbery scene, not bad, but it has nothing to do with the rest of the story. It's just a thing that happens at the beginning. It's not like this movie is Pulp Fiction or anything. After the credits, on the night before Halloween, we meet our two male, heroes, and thank the dark one that they're played by Rainn Wilson and Chris Hardwick, because I'm not remembering these schlubby nerds' names.
I wouldn't be drinking so much coffee if you did your share of the driving.
You know I don't have night vision.
Oh, not this again.
Seriously, I can't even make out the lines in the road.
The boys run low on gas, but luckily spot Captain Spaulding's joint.
Next exit. There you go. Problem solved. And we didn't have to freak out.
Okay, that transition could have been a little smoother, but alright. The fellas take a liking to this place and decide to wake up their gal pals.
Wake up the chicks and break out the camera, boss? Hell yeah.
Okay, why was there a transition in the middle of the scene? Inside, Rainn really hits it off with the casually dressed clown until the nerd mentions that he's writing a book about odd backwoods joints like this.
Y'all think us folks from the country's real funny like, don't you?
Jerry?
Yeah, well, saddle up the mule, Ma!
I'm very interested. I'm not trying to make fun.
Gotcha!
You are such a bad guy.
Man, Sid Haig was a treasure. Anywho, the gang decides to take Captain Spaulding's sketchily named murder ride for a spin, essentially a tour through serial killer history. It's very cool. You can tell Rob Zombie's heart was in scary dark rides, but it's a short scene and only serves as exposition involving a surgeon turned serial killer named Dr. Satan.
Mr. Quayle believed that he could create a race of superhumans from the mentally ill.
Why this whole film couldn't have focused on Captain Spaulding and his roadside attraction, I have no earthly idea. It's so cool looking, but it's just kind of thrown in and put to waste. So, what is House of 1,000 Corpses? Well, it's basically Texas Chainsaw Massacre, except instead of the guy at the gas station warning of a scary place, he begrudgingly draws a map to it.
Here's your map. Right on.
So, the gang set out in search of the tree Dr. Satan was hung from, in the middle of the night, while it's raining, on the night before Halloween. Well, surely all the scary murder folks are busy tonight, so the chances of running into them are slim. On the way, the gang spots a hitchhiker and decides to do the neighborly thing and pick her up. Boy, this doesn't feel familiar. Not at all.
Hey, you know where this Dr. Satan tree is at?
Yeah, you know where that's at.
The hitchhiker, played by Rob Zombie's then-girlfriend Sherry Moon, is a friendly, quirkily odd figure who would surely draw the characters into any situation she wished, especially since she can lead them to the Dr. Satan tree. Or some guy just shoots their tires. That works too, I guess, and Bill heads out with the stranger alone in the pitch-black rain in search of a spare tire. In the house ahead is where Bill Moseley's character, Otis, gives the TED Talk of the century to a captive audience.
But unfortunately, you and your sentimental minds are doing me no good!
It's kinda strange how Rob Zombie just sorta gives the audience a clear picture beforehand of the dangers in store for the characters. Don't get me wrong, it's important to hint at danger to build suspense for the characters, but there should still be an uncertainty of what will be around the corner that puts you on the same level as the characters, and, makes things actually scary. Instead, we have very naive characters recklessly entering a sketchy situation that we exactly know involves a murderous, deranged kidnapper.
Oh, Christ. Fuck it.
Rob Zombie shows us his whole hand of cards at the start of the game, but we're playing Clue.
Christ! God, oh!
Don't
Don't do that! You scared the shit out of me!
Meanwhile, back at the car, the gang gets a frightened, but it's just the tow truck dude cosplaying as Chewbacca. Alright then, well, it's less weird than Matthew McConaughey.
Wow. Look at him. He must have been going pretty fast to smash through that wall.
I do gotta give some props to Rainn Wilson here. Out of all of the normal characters, he's the only one that stands out as likable, being a gullible, corny goofball. So, of course, he probably dies pretty early on. Great. All of the characters reconvene at the Firefly residence where they meet Baby's mother, who is just called, Mother, I guess, played by the late Karen Black, who invites the travelers to a candlelit dinner.
So you are all invited to dinner.
Before the grub is served, the characters are greeted by not Leatherface, and I'm not gonna lie, if I was them and I saw this guy without any context show up in a creepy house, I would probably leave right away.
You'll have to forgive Tiny. He can't hear so much.
Mother Firefly explains that her son, not Leatherface, is scarred for life because his Papa Earl heard spirits in the house and decided to burn it down.
My baby boy gets shy around new people.
I'm not gonna lie, if that story was told to me in a creepy house, I would probably leave right away. I feel like House of 1000 Corpses is Rob Zombie asking the question, what if Texas Chainsaw Massacre characters were dumber? I mean, no joke, Otis joins the dinner with a fucking pickle jar containing a fetus, but the characters act like he's just tracking mud on the carpet or something.
Now, I don't know. Who told you your fairy fables about Dr. Satan?
We heard it from Captain Spaulding up the road again.
That old bitch hog don't know shit.
After dinner, the gang enjoys some stand-up from old Grandpa.
Tell you a little story.
Eat your mom's pussy!
Well, now I know where Dane Cook stole his act from. Baby even puts on a show herself, and even though it's very simplistic, it plays out with the split-screen effect that sitcoms use when characters talk on the phone. This is not a halftime show. This is like the Rocky Horror Picture Show on meth instead of coke.
Get off him!
Rainn's battle axe doesn't take too kindly to Betty Boop's impromptu lap dance, and before tits can be cut off, Chewie lets everyone know that the car's light-speed engine has been fixed.
I suggest that you kids leave. We're gone.
Before the gang leaves, though, Baby pounds on the windows of the car, which is the least creepy thing that happened that night. Whilst opening the gate, Rainn and the Nerdist host get bum-rushed by, gnomes, and the girls lock the car doors so they can be cornered by Supreme Leader Snoke. The next day is Halloween, and the gang's disappearance alarms Rainn's girlfriend's father, Don, who was expecting them the previous night. Oh no, they're going to miss Halloween dinner.
Well, I'll run a check on up there by Spaulding's and see if there's any accidents or road closings. It was raining like a son of a bitch here last night.
The tied-up Denise wonders where Rainn is, and, well, the Fireflies tortured him to the song Brick House, and this totally isn't like that scene from Reservoir Dogs. Completely original, okay? The outcome is, well, Rainn was turned into a Fiji mermaid for some reason. Alright. Is he supposed to be posed sexy, or did he just do that when he died?
Real as I want it to be, Mama.
Elsewhere, the deputy, played by the late Tom Tolles, shows up at the Spaulding joint. Alright, we've entered the Texas Chainsaw Massacre Part 2 section of the film.
Ain't my type, though. You know, I like them with a little more meat on them.
Who doesn't? After Spaulding points the officers in the right direction, there's a sequence that is inverted, with Denise running in a field with old folks talking about a rapist skunk ape.
I don't know where that skunk ape sleeps. All I know is that he had impure relations with my wife.
I guess it's a Night of the Demon reference, but why is this in the movie? I guess this is one of the abandoned plot points of the film. Also, it's hard to be scared when you can't even tell what's happening. It was just a nightmare, though, when Denise or Mary, I can't tell the fucking difference at this point, wakes up looking all Joaquin Phoenix and is greeted by not Leatherface fixing a bowl of, Agatha Crispies. Is this a Simpsons episode? The Nerdist isn't having things easy either. He has to hang out with Rob Zombie's wife. Part of me wonders if these movies were just made to give Sherry something to do.
Who is my favorite movie star?
Marilyn Monroe.
No, Betty Davis. Sorry, you lose!
Kinda like just adult babysitting. The cops do manage to make a breakthrough and discover the gang's beat-up crud wagon.
Keys? Well, don't just stand there like some prize dog, Dick. Open the trunk.
Prize dog, Dick? What does that even mean?
Oh, God damn.
Find something, Jordy?
That was actually in Rainn Wilson's car before they met the Firefly family. They're fucked up. The cops and Denise's pa head over to the Firefly residence, which is the first place I would honestly suspect is responsible for any local crimes, interrupting Otis's viewing of the monsters. Now that is truly criminal.
Well, hello, officer.
Good afternoon, ma'am. I'm Lieutenant Waddell.
Out in the back, without a warrant, Don and the other officer discover a score of corpses. Unfortunately, the ironic music that's playing is drowning out all the sound outside, and the deputy isn't warned soon enough of his impending demise. Don tries to get away, but he's trapped in slow motion, and Rob Zombie tries to make us care about his death by cutting away to his family at Christmas. That's such a cheat when you only give a character a few lines of dialogue in a movie. Rob Zombie tried that again in Halloween 2. Didn't work the second time either. I'm honestly more sad about this guy dying, and I don't even know his name. Rob Zombie really milks this last guy's death, but I think it's only to make the runtime a little longer than 85 minutes. After whatever the hell that was, Baby heads to a liquor store. It's a really pointless scene where we just hear the story of a clerk's name tag and the characters buy their alcohol legally.
How much we owe you, Goober?
Actually, it's G. Ober for Jerry Ober.
Again, Rob Zombie probably needed to add this scene to up his page count. The Slaughter family ordering pizza was a better scene than this. Otis descends the stairs of the Firefly household, donned in, well, Don's skin. How do I know? Helpfully, Rob Zombie cuts away to Don a few times to remind us because his character was so unmemorable but was killed just a few minutes ago. You can fix everything in editing.
Maybe it just ain't a good idea to be prancing around where you don't belong.
The Firefly clan escort the few remaining survivors as, Easter bunnies to hold a ceremony. A little out of season, but, okay. You know, they act like they do this all the time, but they're so conspicuous they haven't gotten caught yet. Also, it's been a while since the cops were killed. Nobody looking for them? Oh, whatever. Best not to dwell on reasonable questions within this film.
Just let us go, I swear to God, we won't tell anyone.
Oh, surely they'll respect his wishes. I guess not. Well, we went full-on Bane on him. Mary decides last minute that she doesn't want to die, running off, and we find out why they're all donning bunny costumes.
Y'all run like scared little rabbits. Run, rabbit, run!
Is Otis Driftwood Elmer Fudd? Mary eventually finds herself in a makeshift graveyard, and I guess decides it's where she wants to be, allowing Sherry to get some death blows in.
Shoo, shoo, said the maiden.
Now that is an obscure reference.
Sit on my tail and go with me to my rabbit hutch.
Via casket, Denise and Nerdist descend down the well and encounter mud-dwelling zombies, I guess. I suppose Rob Zombie decided to just make a different kind of horror movie at the end and go with the Dr. Satan idea he started with. Making an unauthorized Texas Chainsaw Massacre sequel only has so much juice. The final act of the film kinda just devolves into watching someone explore a haunted house attraction, but again, I gotta say, Rob Zombie is really good at this kind of thing. The production design is great. If this was a real haunted house attraction, I would love to walk through it myself instead of watching someone else do it. Finally, Dr. Satan is introduced, vivisecting Hardwick, and he also looks very cool, but I preferred the Paul Giamatti version. Oh, Dr. Satan also has his own bionic Uber Jason. I feel like this would be a level in Doom. What happened with the 70s Grindhouse thing? Fortunately for Denise, Jason here is terrible with an axe, allowing her to escape twice. She takes a little nap the second time, though. The traumatized Denise hitches a ride with Captain Spaulding, who totally isn't this film's Drayton Sawyer character. Not at all.
Just sit back and relax. I'll get you to a doctor.
I guess I spoke too soon. So, Denise ends up on Dr. Satan's operating table anyway. I'm not really sad about that. She barely had any dialogue. Did Rob Zombie seriously do the end, question mark? I guess this cliched sequel hook worked in Zombie's favor, especially since we have 2 sequels now, but I'm sad he didn't name the sequel House of 1001 Corpses. Oh yeah, the movie does end with Brick House over the credits. Great. Well, that was my riff view of House of 1000 Corpses. It's a bad, messy movie with weak writing that unabashedly cribs from other horror and exploitation films, but I can see why people love it, and Rob Zombie films in general. These films are like the low-rent drive-in grindhouse films of old, made today on a larger scale without any hint of irony. And Rob Zombie does get some good performances from his villains, revitalizing the careers of Bill Moseley and Sid Haig with this film. House of 1000 Corpses isn't for everybody for sure, and I would recommend watching Devil's Rejects before this, but despite how clunky the film is, it's still pretty entertaining in what it manages to do right. I give House of 1000 Corpses a Sherry Moon Zombie out of Sid Haig. Hope you folks have a good Halloween, now and forever. If you like this October video, like it, but if you loved it, subscribe for more and click that motherfucking bell icon to keep track of future uploads and streams. Also, be sure to follow me on social media on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Dr. Wolfula. If you'd like to pay me a visit this season at the Wolfula, download the free Popbase app to hang out with a virtual me, complete with exclusive vids, horror trivia, and answering your questions. Finally, if you can, support the channel by pledging to my Patreon, where you can get early access, exclusive vids, and shoutouts. I'd like to thank my Platinum supporters on Patreon for their pledges. The channel would be nothing without their support, and it's greatly appreciated. Thanks again. I've been your host, Dr. Wolfula, signing out. See you all next time.
The bigger the cushion, the sweeter the pushing.